Seeing none, would someone like to make a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting, bills, payroll, and action items 13-46, 1347, 1348, 1349, 1350, 1351, and 1352 of the consent agenda? Mary, seconded by Mr. Curtis. Roll call.
Mrs. Talley?
Yes.
Mrs. Marza?
Yes.
Mr. Curtis?
Yes.
Mrs. Driscoll?
Yes.
Mr. McMahon?
Yes.
Mr. Gray?
Yes.
Mr. Shackle?
Yes. Consent action items have been approved. We'll move on before we ask for a motion to approve action item 13-53, I'd ask Superintendent Tickner to make some commentary related to that.
Absolutely. This is the Lemont High School District 210 Instructional Improvement and Evaluation Plan. This was reviewed last month as an information item. It's presented for your approval now. And at this time, the board is being asked to approve the procedural aspects for evaluation of classroom teachers only at this time. Our work related to the evaluation of non-classroom teachers, such as counselors, deans, nurses, social workers, that's still in progress. When they're completed, which will be soon, we'll add it to the document and then bring it back for your approval. So that is what that's the approval that we're seeking with this action item.
Great. Any questions for Mary on that? Seeing none, would someone like to make a motion to approve action item 13-53 to approve the Lemont High School District 210 Instructional Improvement Evaluation Plan? Mrs. Driscoll?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Gray. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Driscoll?
Yes.
Mr. Gray?
Yes.
Mrs. Talley?
Yes.
Mr. McMahon?
Yes.
Mr. Curtis?
Yes.
Mrs. Marza?
Yes.
Mr. Shackle?
Yes. Motion 13-53 is passed. Moving on to the information items that you have in front of you. Information items 13-13 is Students of the Month. 14 is the Association of Lemont Teacher Report. 13-15 is the 2014-15 draft of the school calendar. And 13-16 is the interest earning by fund for the fiscal year 2012-2013. Did you want to make a comment on the calendar?
You know what, if you're okay with it, I'll go ahead and let Mr. Neese do the ALT update.
Sure.
And then, yes, then I have a comment on the school calendar and then just a brief comment on the,
I'm going to try. Made it this far, too stubborn to quit now.
We're all fine. You all have my report in front of you, I believe. It's going to be this week brief this month. But the chess team did, they reported on that last month, they did indeed win the rest of their matches and had a perfect 2-12-0 season. They're getting ready for state, which is early next month. Drama Club, we attended the annual high school drama festival a couple weeks back. There were over 4,500 students there from all across Illinois. Kids are taking part in workshops, attending shows, as they do every year. We're very honored. This year we had 2 students audition for scholarships, Ryan Loza and Margaret Rogers, and they each got, Margaret got 26 and Ryan got 28 different callbacks offers of interest of schools from all across the country and some pretty big name schools, so ISU, U of I. So that was very successful, and actually I'm going to present this to you now. This is just a thank you letter from the Drama Club for the board's continued support in that endeavor. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. The Mathletes won their conference title again, and are currently preparing for the regionals. Science students have put in over 225 volunteer hours with Will County Forest Preserve. They've been honored again with another Volunteer of the Year nomination. It's the 4th time Lemont High School has been honored in this category, and the awards will be presented in April. They've also volunteered numerous hours with the Cook County and Forest Preserve District as well. The Sparkles Dance Team is the recipient of a uniform grant from the Nationwide Sparkles organization and varsity teamwear. The girls are going to be very excited to show off their clothes this coming Thursday, actually the 23rd, at basketball game, and invite you all to attend to see them in their glory. And then last but not least, this is a little bit of a long one, but it's is the big history thing that we were talking about a while ago. Scott Collins is teaching a new class called Big History, and that presents a large story and helps explain kind of how everything got to be where it is, how we fit in, et cetera, et cetera. The class was developed by a professor out of Sydney, Australia, funded by, funded by a bunch of people, including the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And at the end of last semester, they were able to Skype with the professor who developed this whole thing, and they were able to talk for about 30 minutes. He gave his insights, answered questions for them. He asked them questions about their experience, because this is a new program for them as well. And everybody seemed to have a good time. The students were challenged. He challenged the students to take charge, be a part of positive movements for change in the world. You see that everybody had a very positive experience. On the second page, there's, again, I always like to include just a couple of emails from students who moved on, thanking their teachers for the experience they had here. And just real quick on the last thing, the Drama Club is presenting their winter productions over Valentine's Day weekend. So if you have nothing better to do on Valentine's Day, please come on out. The production's called Seasons of Love, and it's going to be, we're doing something completely different this year. We're going to close the main curtain. The audience is going to be on the stage with the actors. It's going to be in the ground. It's something our students have never done before. And it's going to be a series of vignettes, some songs, some poetry, all on the theme of love. So we would like you to come out and see that as well. That should be fun. Should be good. Thank you very much. Stay healthy.
And if I could add, Roy, our alumni association is playing.
And attending the 15th, I
Oh,
believe.
yes, it's happening. Yeah, Tony and I were talking about that. Yeah, that's going to be fun. And I'm also trying to work with a couple of restaurants in the neighborhood to kind of cross-advertise. I'm offering them space, if you will, in our program at no cost. This is not a fundraiser. This is more of a, hey, let us advertise you. In return, what I would like is you for you to advertise us by way of placing a poster in front of the location. And so far, I've had different restaurants respond positively to that. So, thanks again.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate that.
School calendar. In your board book is information on the 2014-15 school calendar, the draft. Just so you're aware, appropriate personnel, including ELT, has been consulted, and Tony developed a draft of the 2014-15 calendar, which is very similar to our current calendar. So that's in your board book. Also, Tony's developed a second version of the 14-15 calendar, which has spring break occurring 1 week later. That's also in your board book. I'm not asking you to pick, I'm just giving you information. We'll come back to you with a recommendation, but I want to explain a little bit about why we rethought the school calendar. After learning more about the new state assessment that will be in place next spring, the park assessments that you've heard us talk about, we've become aware that the park testing window is March 9th through April 2nd. And if we maintain spring break, next year's calendar, just like we always have, we will effectively be cutting off almost a quarter of the testing window that we're allowed to use to give this test. And we're concerned, quite frankly, about shuffling 1,100 kids through 5 park sessions each, testing sessions each, all through computer labs. The park test is online. It's an adaptive computer test. And there's also some very interesting requirements about, what tests have to be given when. And the point is just there's so many unknowns with this new park test. In fact, Kathy Rocket told me earlier today that they keep changing, we're doing a field test, and they keep changing, who has to take the field test 3 times. So, we just think it might be something to consider to give ourselves that full testing window and schedule spring break a week later. We've also been in contact with 113A. They've indicated they'll align their winter and spring breaks with our calendar, and, the same testing window applies to them as well. So, we're, talking with all the appropriate people. Go ahead,
They
Mike.
have to give tests at the same time,
Yeah, they're different tests, but they're park tests, and they're within that same testing window. And so, and again, it's testing 9th, 10th, and 11th graders. And again, there'll be another time where we'll go over much more details of the park test, but there are 2 park assessments, both given in the 2nd semester. And this particular park assessment is, the window occurs, a portion of the window is during our spring break. So we're going to continue to talk about it. I sent out an email to the area superintendents to see what they're doing. Tony has contacted, I think, the people in his role in other school districts. And so we do plan to bring you back a recommendation for a school calendar, but I kind of wanted to give you a heads up on this because it might have spring break at a different time.
so all other schools are in the same situation.
Yeah, well, not everyone, the majority of schools around have their spring break the same time we do,
Last week of
Yeah.
March or whatever.
Yeah, and so but there's a little flexibility, so we're all talking about it. I just, if it, we wouldn't be bringing this up if it wasn't a new test with so many unknowns, and I don't want to shortchange us, so.
What about moving it earlier in the calendar rather than later?
Well, it would have, that is the last week of the window. The testing window is this.
No, I'm saying take spring break and put it in early March.
That's a possibility. We never
Because we always do
considered that.
last Monday of March, that's
Yeah.
when it starts.
Good it starts, yeah. You'd have to have it, the testing window starts March 9th. That's certainly something we can
Because
consider.
it puts it, if you're looking at the calendar here, if you're gonna have 5 weeks of school left after spring break, at that point, why have spring break?
It's a point well taken. Yeah, thank you for that feedback. So, we may find out that, they give us 4 weeks because they know most, there may be some reasoning. And also, I even thought about just calling the person who's in charge of park testing at the state and saying, do you guys realize your testing window, affects almost every school,
Yeah.
So, I can't tell you for sure. Yeah, so we plan to bring you back a recommendation. We plan to continue to do our homework between now and then, and just know that it might be a different spring break, and if it is, it'll be aligned with 113. Okay?
Thank you.
You bet.
Any questions for Dr. Tickler? Seeing none, we'll move on to board committee reports. Mary,
Well,
go ahead.
and could I just go back to one other information item? I could just take a second. You do have a memo from Jeff Egan. It delineates where the interest earnings from our operating fund investments have been allocated. That's something that we do every year. I don't know, Jeff, you had any other comments on that? Okay, all right. Sorry, now we're ready for
Okay.
committee reports. Yeah. Just wanted to remind the board that the Finance Committee meeting's been changed to Monday, February 10th, rather than February 11th, because there's a conflict with the Wilco meeting. So, the February 10th. And the purpose of the meeting will be to review financial projections with the new CPI, as Jeff had mentioned, along with staffing recommendations, for next year. And we'll also take a look at the financial plan of action that was created in 2011-12. That was a plan that you and Dr. Dober and Jim and Dave put together. And we'll just kind of take a look at that and see where we're at. So that's the focus of the Finance Committee meeting, Monday, February 10th, and we will send a reminder at 6:30 p.m. The next Curriculum Committee meeting is now slated for Monday, March 10th. We had thought we would have it in February, but, you know, when you look at 2 board meetings, a finance committee meeting and a curriculum committee meeting, that's a lot of meetings to ask you to attend in 1 month. And what's slated for the curriculum committee meeting is a presentation from the World Language Department. Christy Klinsborn and the world language teachers will be doing a presentation, and it's not time sensitive, so it made sense to move it to March. So again, we'll send out reminders to you, and as always, all board members are invited to attend the committee meetings. That's all I have.
Any other boards, anybody else have anything to add? Any other updates on anything? Okay, great. Unfinished business, we have no unfinished business this month, but I am happy to announce for the first time that I am ever aware, we have new business.
Yes, in your board package, you have information about this. The Village of Lemont is launching a new streaming service on their website. And they've entered into an agreement with a company called CGI Communications to produce videos that highlight various aspects of the Lemont community. And so this GCI is a marketing company that produces professional videos. And they could produce a professional video featuring Lemont High School, and the cost, as you see in your information, would be approximately $5,000. This would also provide for District 210 to have a link on the village website that would go directly to this video. So that's what the concept is. My point in just bringing it up as new business is if the board is interested in learning more about this, I could arrange for the representative from this GCI communication to, you know, through a webinar or possibly a live presentation, demonstrate what it looks like. He could give a brief presentation at the February board meeting. And again, if the board's not interested in pursuing this, there's not a consensus to go ahead, then, you know, it's you know, thanks, but we're not interested. So, you know, it is about a $5,000 cost. Tony and I, and Mike, did you happen to be in the office that day? And I said, hey, you want to listen to this? I mean, what they show is very professional,
Yes.
well done, you know, type of work. This certainly is, you know, would be a want, you know, but it does, you know, highlight Lemont High School, and I think we would have, you know, uses for that. So,
Almost like a PR type.
yeah, it really is like a PR type of thing. If we did go ahead and do this, Tony would coordinate with this production company, and you know, I think it's help me out, Tony, a 60-second or a 30-second, it's in your board pack. There's different prices. This $5,000 is for the minimum length. And so, you know, again, there's not really a there's not really a time crunch for this, but, you know, if there's consensus to the board that you wanted to learn a little bit more about it, I'm happy to arrange it. So,
And then, in addition to that, what Mary forgot to add was the links to the 30-second testimonials that each board member would have to give. High school. Forgot about that.
There's one on the website for the Vault, the Vault Restaurant
Oh,
on Canal Street. I don't know if this outfit did it, but it's really nice, very clever. You know, it's all about the history of the bank that was there and tying it all in. It was done very nicely.
yeah. I don't know, Tony, can you bring the village website up?
It's not on the
It's not
village
on-
website. It was either on the Vault website or on the patch, but I got to it, I think, through the village. So,
Yeah.
I don't remember how I found
And
it.
the way they describe it to us is here the village webpage would come up, and there's, you know, village stuff in the middle, but then all around this rectangle would be, you know, different community organizations link, and then we could, you know, be on this link up here, and then it would have that video. So, you know, I do see purposes for that if you're interested, more than just providing a video for the village. I see that would also be good public relations for, you know, the district, so.
It's 113. I'm sure they've been approached.
You know, I have not spoken with their interim superintendent regarding this, so I assume they were, but I can't tell you that for sure.
And of course, a number of businesses around town. have been solicited for it also.
I guess I don't know whether we should be an early adopter of this, maybe let it see what it does with some of the other businesses, I'm sure
It
we can
doesn't
always
hurt to
jump in.
get information, but
Oh, it
Like
was
you
not
said,
done,
it's
it's
not-
on the Vault website, but it was done by Image Icon Photography,
Oh,
which is right across, it's right on Canal Street.
Right across,
Sure.
Yeah,
across from the deli.
okay. I'm sorry, Mark, you had said, let's look at maybe
Well, I just said
consider.
maybe, let's not be early adopters, let's see how it evolves, and then if
mhm.
we believe there's potentially some benefit based on how we see some of the other entities, then maybe look into it
Can we
deeper,
look
I
into
guess.
it?
I mean, I don't think we have to jump in.
No, no. Pam, you started to have a comment.
I guess it doesn't hurt to get information, more information about it, but like you said, it's not a necessity.
No, no, it's not a necessity. Would it be a very well-done, professionally produced video? I believe so, based on what we saw. And would there be benefit? Absolutely, there'd be benefit to it. So what I'm hearing is, let's wait and see how these other videos pop up. Is that kind of what the consensus of the board is?
We don't have a class that teaches that, do we? A video editing class or
Well, I'm
something?
gonna ask Tom that. I don't
No.
know, I really
Okay.
don't.
No, we
think
know,
do.
we've considered it for a long time. To be perfectly honest, it would be, there would be, I think, significant expense to bring a class like that up. But, people have expressed interest in the past, no doubt about it.
Dave?
Not necessarily to endorse this, because I've not seen it. I think there's going to be a need, and I'm sure Tony's been aware of this, for increased marketing, because when I was at the same Rotary meeting with Senator Verdonia, and one of the real disturbing facts that she gave out there is that Illinois is the it won't surprise you, the slowest state in the nation in terms of recovery, but leading the nation in terms of the exodus of 30 to 40-year-olds and those 10 years and under, which means families, which is going to have an impact on school enrollments down the road. So the idea of marketing in some way is going to probably become highlighted in every public school. So they say, there's no way I can possibly endorse this, I don't know what it is, but that concept, I think, needs to be in the forefront of our minds moving forward, because people are moving out of state.
Is there a way that, is there something that we can look at without having someone come in? I mean, is there a link or something that we
He
can be
would-
directed to or not?
He said he could do it remotely and put it up here, and it could be in as short as 10 or 15 minutes. I don't think we can just go, there was not a link provided for us to go, they want to show it to you and explain it to you. Yeah,
Is the village gonna have one done?
oh, they already have.
Oh, but it's not on there yet.
I've not gone there, I don't assume
I
it
was
is
just
yet.
there, I didn't see it.
And we would tag on there as, we would be one of the places that you could shoot off from.
Right, but it would be nice if, like Mark said, if there's one there, we could see it.
Yeah, they did show us some samples, you know, like a school sample of, didn't they show us one, Tony, I can't remember, I don't think it was an Illinois school, but they showed us one, so. Well, that's fine, I think what I'm hearing is take a look at what's out there, see what I can maybe email to you or get to you in some other format to get some sense of it, and then maybe we revisit it at a later date. Does that seem like what the consensus of the board
Yeah.
is? Okay, that's what I needed to know, will do, thank you.
Great. It's the second opportunity for public comment. In accordance again with board policy 2-230, we welcome comments from the public at this time, but ask that each individual keep his or her comments to 5 minutes or less. Additionally, please do not repeat or reiterate comments made by others about the same topic. We ask that any person who wishes to make a public comment, please begin by introducing yourself, spelling your name for the recording secretary, and giving your address.
Tonight's agenda, it's kind of interesting. I pay a lot of taxes to this district, and a lot of my money's going into software that this district has, okay? And you have all this software available and all this technology, this fancy board room, all this stuff available, and we're not utilizing it. Example, this is the only governmental entity in this community that doesn't have transparency. Tonight's agenda has many flaws in it. I could turn you into PAC tomorrow morning for many complaints and have you guys get slapped for not following the rules. I've come to this board multiple occasions and asked you guys to be transparent. The grade school 113A puts their documents online. The village puts their documents online. And there's absolutely no reason why this governmental entity and you elected board members have allowed this to continue for the length of time it's continued. It needs to stop. You have no excuse for the behavior, and you need to correct it. I will pursue it if you fail to neglect to correct the situation correctly. Now, with that said, I can make verbal FOIAs, which I have to do because of your actions tonight. So I'm going to make a verbal FOIA for 10A, 10F, 10G, 10J, and 12D. And that is due to the fact of your negligence to put the documents and make them accessible to the public. The public had no ability to know what was going on at this meeting, nor does the press when they attend, or anybody sitting in the audience. And you have to wonder why, after you do, at every meeting, your awards and recognitions, why there is nobody here but staff at these meetings. It's a transparency issue, and it's due to your negligence. So I would ask that you guys correct that situation and fix it and not let it continue past this point in date. The next thing is with new business. You're PRing and spending $5,000 that you're going to spend not on kids if you continue to do a video opportunity like this. We're zip code schools, guys. People leaving the state, you're not going to stop it due to putting PR out there. They're leaving the state due to the taxes, like Rodona said at her meeting, and you're taxing people out of the state. You're taxing people out of your community and you're hurting them. That's why I said you should abate this money from the tax levy. You have till it's certified to do such, and your actions, again, are hurting people. You're hurting them. You're hurting your neighbors, you're hurting the kids, you're hurting the families, and you're putting more people in poverty. You're increasing those numbers by your actions. So I'll ask you again, for the second time this evening, to please reconsider your actions and take them very seriously. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Riegel. Notices and communications, seeing none for January. Then we now move to closed session. We do have some personnel matters to discuss and also a student matter to discuss. Would someone like to make a motion to the board to go into closed session at this time? Mr. Curtis, seconded by Mr. McMahon. Roll call, please.
Mr. Curtis?
Yes.
Mr. McMahon?
Yes.
Mrs. Driscoll?
Yes.
Mr. Gray?
Yes.
Mrs. Marza?
Yes.
Mrs. Talley?
Yes.
Mr. Shackle?
Yes. There's a motion to go into closed session.